Testing, testing. Hello, it is October 31st, Halloween. So go on a spooky ride today. It is 2:55 p.m. and 50 degrees and 50% humidity. It's 50-50 today. Tomorrow starts a new month, and we'll do Chance for Happiness. It is an absolutely beautiful sunny day. Last year, maybe I'll put a timeline of how things look. So I usually go on a bike ride on Halloween, see how things over the years. So, last year there was significant snow up here. And right now, as you can tell, it has snowed up here, but there is no snow. On the way up, there is some ice, frozen ice, frost on the side of the trail, but no snow up here. And all I'm wearing today, not my birthday suit, not like I'm in Portland, but I am wearing shorts and just a jacket, just a hoodie. All right. And as oftentimes, this is the don't lose your pants stop. But I came up the other day, this trail was really muddy and looks like it's gonna be the same. So that can make for some fun. We have lots of mud. So if it phones up on the camera, such is life. So today I want to talk about Halloween. Hello. Thank you. Talk about Halloween because it is Halloween today. And I was talking with my wife. We've had a tradition the last few years to make donuts on Halloween. It's probably been 10 years, I would think, that we make donuts on Halloween, and we eat them, and the neighbors eat them, and everybody smiles and has a good time. And this year we were kind of wondering if we should continue that, because, things have changed in our life. Our neighborhood, there's just fewer and fewer kids. And last year we made a lot of donuts and didn't have a lot of takers. So we had a lot of leftover donuts, with which we were talking whether we were going to do donuts or not this year. And she says, my wife, she says, I don't want a lot of leftover donuts. So we'll just make them bigger. There's your solution. That's usually not the solution to things. Usually it's let's make them smaller. But her solution was, we'll just make them bigger. I'm like, I'm okay with that. So after this ride, we'll go down and I usually fry them and she makes them. So I'm the fry guy. So I was going to talk about Halloween, but we were talking about how Halloween was this year. We're kind of like, don't have a lot of kids. Our grandkids are far away. And, it's like getting in the Halloween spirit. And this mud is flinging river. And getting in the Halloween spirit kind of been hard. I think we put some pumpkins out for decorations. And I made a welcome sign. One of the things I like to do is make welcome signs for our house. I did make a Halloween one. I think I'm going to have to go find it to hang it up because we haven't even hung that up. And my wife, she works at the school and she didn't go today because she doesn't work on Fridays. But the teachers were all like, hey, tomorrow's basically a useless day, not any teaching going on. We'll have parties and kids will all be hyped up and worried about their costumes. And I thought, when I was a kid, that was one of the funnest things about Halloween was getting dressed out and going out trick-or-treating. And as I got older, it became less and less about dressing up and more about trick-or-treating. So you just throw on any old thing and say, hey, what are you? I'm the dude. Okay, here's your candy bar. Then we eat candy as you get older. But it's fun when you're a kid to get dressed up. Our grandchildren are we called them, video chatted with them the other day, and they showed us their costumes. They are squishmallows. They love squishmallows. They have a whole collection of them. If you don't know what a squishmallow is, do a little research. And while we were talking to them, they had these squishmallow costumes that go over. And my daughter was happy because this is one of the things that growing up, and when you have kids of your own, if it's cold and they have to wear a coat over their beautiful princess dress, then they're mad. But these squishmallow costumes are such that they could wear anything under them and be ready to go. They could wear a coat, they could wear a parka, they could gloves and ski pants, and the costume would still be good. So, but when they were showing it to us, they're really quite big, and I said, climb in there. So they were able to put their whole body into this squishmallow costume and lay on the floor. And I'm like, hey, pop your head out. And it was like squishmallow aliens. With this human head popping out of the squishmallow. It's kind of fun. Kind of a fun thing. When I was driving up here today, yesterday, so that's the part I say later, but yesterday my son got offered a job working at a gym. It's a gym that he goes to every day. So he's like, why don't I see if I can get a job there? So he applied and he actually got the job. So he starts next week. And usually he just goes to the gym, does his workout, doesn't pay much attention. He was wondering what the dress code is. So he went in yesterday to go to the gym, kind of scope out what the dress code is. And lo and behold, everybody was wearing a costume. So I guess the dress code is pirate. Shows up his first day as a pirate. So, and then we're like, well, we can go today, but probably more of the same. But when I was driving up here, and one thing about getting dressed up when you're a kid, and I think this is our kids used to love to play dress up. We had a whole tub full of dress up clothes where you could dress up be a king or, just lots of different things. And I think one of the things about dressing up when you're a kid is it's like you become somebody else. If you're that shy, timid kid, scared, but then you're able to dress up as a pirate or a superhero. It transforms you. It makes you feel confident. It's like, maybe this is our new dress for success. Because wear the clothes for the job you want, not the job you have. So you show up in your pirate costume. Arr, this is the job I want. But I was driving up here, and I think it emboldens you if you're playing like you're a strong character. And I think you can channel this in other things. If you're doing a job interview, you can get hyped up and do the power poses and those kinds of things. And you get all dressed up and in your lucky socks. It empowers you. So as I'm driving up here, there was this girl out rollerblading, and she's just tearing it up. But as soon as I saw her, I'm like, girl, you can just rock it. Because she was dressed up as, let me get my demon hunters right. My K-pop demon hunters. She was dressed up as Rumi. Not, oh, here goes the nerd in me. Not Zoe. Not Mira. And she had this beautiful purple braid on. And she was just going up and down the street, just rocking it like she was playing the part. And that's what I started thinking, I think that's part of when we're kids, why we like dressing up. Because our kids, like I said, we had this closet full of costumes that they could wear, and they played dress up a lot. We'd come home and they'd be doing different things, and granddaughters do the same thing. But I think it's empowering to, kind of act like who you think you want to be. Maybe that's something we should, as adults, envision ourselves as, we think of ourselves. I've been thinking a lot lately because I've had several people approach me. And I mean several. And say that I should run for city council or mayor. And I'm like, no, I hate politics, that kind of stuff. I hate, put myself in the position of, regardless what I say, somebody's not going to like what I'm saying. And I started thinking, do people perceive me that way? And it was kind of, remember, this is a thing we go back to, but when I studied communications, it's one of the things that you learn is there's always different perceptions. There's the person you think you are. There's the person that other people think you are. And then there's the person that you think other people think you are. And I thought that was pretty interesting, actually. So, and sorry, but it's we need to perceive. I was talking about people asking me to run for city council. I'm thinking, do people? And my wife comes home and says, yeah, they keep saying to me that you need to run for city council. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. I go to the meetings and I participate as a public, but I just don't see myself that. And I remember when I was working at the technical college, my daughter was attending there. So we'd often drive together. Her classes would end the same time that my shift got off. And that's one of the reasons I got back into biking is I had to ride my bike to work, and then she'd drive out there, and then we'd drive home together. But I remember one day, this really struck me. There used to be these commercials on the radio. I don't know if they're still on the radio or not. They probably are. It's something that, because advertisers love to play on your weaknesses, your insecurities. But there was this ad, and I used to do a parody of it for all my friends. I think it was for the Hair Club for Men, and as you can probably tell based on the title of this chat, this series, I don't got lots of hair. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I was looking at some of the videos of myself when I was younger, and I'm like, man, dude, were you trying to cover up your baldness? But back to so we're listening to the radio, and this commercial comes on for this hair club or Rogaine or whatever it happens to be, implants. And and it talks about how, the people are on there like, when I used to be bald, I lacked confidence and I lacked virility and I was much dumber then because my brain was leaking out the top. But the main thing was it talked about, you get more confidence. And so I said to my daughter, I said, hey, maybe I should get that. And she looked at me dead in the face and she said, yeah, like you need more confidence. And that really struck me because I didn't see myself as an extremely confident person. And I thought, am I just selling myself short in that regard? So it's interesting to think that. I don't know, it's just interesting how people perceive you.
Hello.
Hey.
It's me, thank you.
Yeah. So it's interesting how my camera's got jogged. Looking off into space. It's interesting how other people perceive you and you don't perceive yourself that way. So I think that's maybe to go back to this Halloween and maybe we should put on the costume, the persona. It's maybe that fake it till you make it thought, Do I want to see myself as confident? I know I think about this a lot. You hear as people start to get older, they start telling you their regrets. And one of the things that they like to talk about, they like to say, and like people ask is, if you could go back, what would you change? And it's interesting to hear what, people would say, they'd say, well, I'd be more confident, I'd be more daring, I'd pay attention more, I wouldn't waste my money. All these different things that they say that they would do. And I've thought about this a lot. And I thought, it's not too late. If you're looking back at your regrets, what's a better time than now to go, hey, when I was a kid, I said, I wish I was more daring, or I wish I was more confident, or I wish I'd, spent my money better. Or paid attention to things that were important to me. It's not too late. Don't have that. And it might be a regret now, but turn it into a positive in your life where, and maybe that's the evaluation you need to make, is maybe think back and say, if I could go back, what would be the things that I would change? In a really honest sense, the things that I would like to change. And assess your life now and say, I'm going to change those things. So maybe make that assessment in your life to become a better person. Now, it's all interesting how this all started from. It all ties into Halloween. And I had a funny story when I was young. When I was a kid, like a teenage kid, I had this friend, and he was a lot of fun. He wasn't scared. He wasn't afraid of anything. I'm not scared. He wasn't afraid. And I think he's turned out to be fairly successful. But he was always friendly with everybody and friends everywhere. They had this. They came up with this. It was around Halloween time. They wanted some candy, so they came up with this plan. They had a cousin, and they sent this cousin out, and he would knock on people's doors, and he would say "Finkel fun." This is right around Halloween. He'd go "Finkel fun," and people would go, "What?" He goes, "Finkel fun." It's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh yeah, because where I come from, we have this special thing we call Finkel fun, where you go and knock on people's doors and they give you candy." He's like, "It's not Halloween, it's Finkel fun." So people usually had candy because they were getting ready for Halloween and they'd give them candy. So they got Finkel fun candy. So I always thought that was a pretty fun story. Finkel fun. And I think, was I watching Saturday Night Live the other day when they have on Weekend Update? What is it? The couple that you can't believe are together. And that just cracks me up. Because they've got the one dude who's just Mr. Yo, love having fun, I love everything. And then they got the deadpan girlfriend and her answers are they just hit right home. But she was talking about Halloween. They were talking about Halloween. She was basically, I can't remember what the joke was, but she was talking about Halloween and how it's the one time that she can dress up different than what people expect. It's important if you give yourself, and maybe we need to give ourselves more opportunities to. I think maybe that's why we recently went to, actually just a couple days ago, we went to the theater because we love live theater. Because there's this theater in town it's for charity, and all the proceeds go to somebody who has cancer. Oh, squeaky brakes, here's squeaky brakes, think of somebody you love. But all the proceeds go to cancer research, and it's a very small venue, but they were doing the Scarlet Pimpernel. And it is not one of my wife's favorite. I would say it is my wife's favorite production. She's read the book, she watched the movie, and every time they had a production of it at a high school, and we went to that one, but she saw that they were in Scarlet Pimpernel, so we went to do the Scarlet Pimpernel, and it was fun. But it's a really small theater, and they actually put on a really good production. But I was thinking about, and this has happened to me too, because I've been in a few plays through my life. When I was a kid, I was in Our Town. It's one play I was in, and I was in a couple of musicals where I danced and sang and had a great time. But a little later on in our community, they were going to do a dinner theater. And the lady, my friend who was in charge of it, came and said she wanted me to be in the production. She wanted me to be the star of the production. So we came up with a play, and we did this play, and I think it was called Man of the House. So this guy who breaks into a house and gets caught up in all the shenanigans that are going on there, and all he's trying to do is rob the place, and everybody else is getting in his way, and they think he's the guy who owns the place. It's kind of fun, but in the end, he ends up getting caught and all these things. But so we put on this production, and they do your curtain call, and I came out and did my bows, and my wife was like, "That's when you were the real you when you came out for that curtain call. You weren't acting anymore." And once again, we're back to that. You know what? It empowers you. It empowers you to be something that, taps your potential. So we watched the Scarlet Pimpernel show. So that lady looked like she was scared on the trail. Thought I was going to run her off the trail. So we went and saw the Scarlet Pimpernel show. And, the whole premise of the show is the guy pretends to be a nincompoop while he subverts the French Revolution. He becomes a different person, all the while, being this other person. Which in itself is telling that when they were done with the production, and the guy who's playing the Scarlet Pimpernel did a great job as both nincompoop and the Pimpernel, the other characters he had to play, Gropon. So, and then he was done. They did the little curtain call. And then the guy who was playing the main character wanted to solicit some donations. So he started talking, and I'm like, that's the real him right there. But he did such a powerful job in these different characters. And I guess, what characters do we play in life? And I've been thinking about this a lot lately too. As my family gets older, and I think about, my survival. Squeaky brakes. On the way up, those people, this is their first time on the train. So I gave them some guidance on how things go. They're all very nice people. And I'm sitting on the trail, and And I guess I'll finish my thought with maybe we need to reassess ourselves and make changes to become the people we want to be, the people think we are, and the people we need to be.